Hello, good morning, good afternoon, welcome. I'm very pleased to be joined by Thomas Stetter. Thomas is the Executive Director of the Solar Ammonia Chile project, which is a consortium of various experts there in Chile. So people with renewable energy experience, infrastructure experience, and expertise of building projects in Chile. And Thomas has a long history coming mainly out the solar industry with lots of activities, I think across Argentina and across Chile, across Italy, and is based mainly in Switzerland. So welcome, Thomas. Thanks for joining me.
Nadim, hi. Nice to be with you, and thanks for the invitation of World Hydrogen Leaders to participate in this discussion about our SAC project in Chile.
Yeah. You're obviously going to be down in Chile at the conference World Hydrogen Latin America, which is next month, 12th to the 14th of December. Obviously, you have a lot of experience of building projects in Chile, so maybe you want to introduce the ammonia project you're working on, and whereabouts you are on the project development cycle, and how things are going, and your sort of big picture overview of some of the forces in play, given your experience in bringing projects right through for closure and production and across the solar industry. You've clearly got a lot of experience. So yeah, please, Thomas, give us your overview of where you are.
Solar Ammonia Chile is based in Northern Chile, close to the Port of Mejillones. And our objective from the beginning was twofold: to have a project concept which allows us to be as close as possible to the optimum price of ammonia production in the world. And this objective we have reached, but that also means that you need to reach size. So we consider 1,000 tons of ammonia production per day as the minimum needed to be competitive on an economic scale. And secondly, we wanted to integrate our project as best as possible in the existing landscape, in the existing infrastructure, so that we have the local, regional, and national support. So we launched an industrial park close to Mejillones, where we are one of the companies that will be there. But there will be also others producing other products from hydrogen, or also a battery production plant. Who knows? The idea is to have an industrial pole there, which is interesting for the local population. And the feedback we have got until today is very encouraging. So these are the factors of the project. And then obviously the product needs to be sold. And there we have several interesting possibilities, which range from bunker for ships that pass through Mejillones, national production of explosives for the mining industry in Chile. But we believe that the majority will be exported, and our prime destination is Europe. And from Europe, we are still waiting for the necessary signals on how they want to help us in securing long-term offtake contracts at a fixed price, so that we can financially close our project.
Yeah, a lot there. I mean, in terms of some of those challenges, I mean, from the local standpoint, getting the project built, and obviously the permitting process. I think you mentioned obviously local support and building an industrial park. So I'm assuming it's around creating a platform for jobs and potentially other co-benefits. I mean, you're looking at potentially extra water coming off desalination, or have you already got a desalinated water supply organized?
So the advantage of Northern Chile, in contrast to Southern Chile, to Namibia and other places, is that there is an existing infrastructure in place due to the mining industry. Chile is the biggest exporter of copper worldwide. And from that, there is a whole industry around that regarding the infrastructure. So the port of Mejillones, it's not a new port. It's one of my associates. He was the founder of that port and was for 10 years the CEO and then the director of that port facility, building it for the mining industry. And today, one of the finger docks is being changed to accommodate ammonia. And the same is with desalination. There are huge needs from the mining industry where our project is a small one. So plants have been built already for desalination. And for our first phase, we can profit from that. And when we go further, and others will join us in that industrial park, we will be able to build new desalination plants, and the local population will profit from that, will profit from electricity supply, will profit from job generation. And luckily, people are capacitated for the mining industry. So then we need to offer trainings to specialized people on our ammonia production plant, but piping, building, flows of materials, that's something that they are more than used to, and therefore we believe that we have a real competitive advantage here.
Yeah. So yeah, a little bit of sort of skills conversion as opposed to having to, bring in people with some technical skills. And obviously in the north, the Atacama Desert, and the solar resource is great, but how do you provide the electrolysis plant and indeed the Haber Bosch process for 24/7? I mean, you're quite far away from the beautiful winds of Punta del Este or Patagonia.
That's true, but we are very close to the highest solar resources of the world, which didn't bring only us there, but also, for example, concentrated solar power plants, which produce 24/7 electricity. And there is also in the port of Mejillones, there's a coal-fired power plant, which is at the moment converted into being a Carnot battery. So heating molten salt with photovoltaics, and then during the night, use the steam turbine of the coal-fired plant to produce renewable electricity. And we are at the moment searching for the optimum between very, very cheap electricity during the day, I would say the cheapest in the world probably, and a reasonable price during the night in combination with some storage. This is still ongoing optimization, but already today we believe that the price per ton of ammonia that we are offering is one of the most competitive.
Yeah, I mean the storage you refer to, is that storage within your project, and that would I presume would be lithium batteries.
At the moment, there's a small battery facility foreseen. We believe to start building in 2027. So we need to watch closely what happens until then. The existing concentrated solar power plant is considering to double its capacity until then. That is already a natural battery. So if they expand, we don't need to build. So these are the optimizations that are still possible.
Yeah. In terms of, I guess, getting the project to FID and I guess around the financing of the project, what are your thoughts there? And I mean, you mentioned, I guess, offtake potentially coming from Europe. There needs to be some shoring up around and clarity around that offtake and providing, the European off-takers with a CFD or a mechanism to offset the green premium.
Well, you're touching a very crucial point here, and also mentioning contracts for difference, which are one of the most efficient instruments from my point of view. I think to get to FID, we need a combination of different things. We need to have development institutions willing to participate in that risk and in that cost. We need investors that understand the risk and the business and are thrilled by it. And we need positive signals, at least from industry in Europe and from politics in Europe, so that there is at least a common understanding that we will get to mechanisms like contracts for difference that will allow us to sell the ammonia once the plant is built.
Yeah, understood. And in terms of the overall cost, I mean, you said the minimum scale for an ammonium plant is 1,000 tons a day.
If you want to be economically viable,
right?
You can build pilot plants a lot smaller.
Yeah. I was going to say, and have you got a phased ramp up in terms of building the project?
No, we think our first phase is 1,000 tons per day, corresponding to 320,000 tons a year.
Yeah.
Filling one of the big overseas ships per month.
Yeah.
And the investment is depending on whether you buy the electricity through PPAs or whether you build the photovoltaic part yourself, somewhere between 1.3 and $2 billion US.
Yeah.
And we are aware that it's a huge investment. we are thinking of a stepwise implementation, but to be true, we believe the technology is mature. The pilot projects exist. So if we really want to make a difference, we need to scale up. And if you look at the political ambitions with regard to a hydrogen industry, and I think it's agreed all over the industry that green ammonia is the first low-hanging fruit that you need to harvest. So if politics want to reach their objective and not only talk, then they need to move.
Yeah, and they need the money needs to flow to enable that. I mean, in terms of comparison to the solar industries, I guess that there isn't much comparison in terms of the growth of the solar industry. I mean, when you first did your first projects, 15 plus years ago, what were the scale of some of those initial projects in the tens and 20 millions?
Yes, you just need to consider that ammonia is, after petrol, the second most transported good today in the world.
Wow. Okay.
So it's not, we are not doing anything new, which is also the big advantage in comparison to pure hydrogen. A lot of technical issues have not been resolved for hydrogen. With ammonia, there is no technical big challenge around.
Yeah.
So, but that also means that the huge efficiency gains, technology gains that we had in the PV sector will not happen, from my point of view at least, in the ammonia sector. So we will see cost reductions, we will see new technologies, but that will be gradual, and new technologies, until they are introduced, it takes decades.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's quite a boring industry, if you want, but it's the scale which is scary, and but we need to reach that now if we want to move anything over the next 25 years. Yeah,
we've got to start moving now, and that starts with decarbonizing the existing ammonia industry. And as you say, it's just waiting to be decarbonized, and there's a price for that green premium that needs to be covered.
And for example, if we look at PV, sorry to interrupt you, the first PV plants were built in the 70s, 80s, and now it's 50 years later. And we have how much is it? 8% PV worldwide, something like that.
Yeah.
So we are nowhere.
Yeah.
2 generations later.
Yeah.
And we want to be at net zero in the next 25 years.
Yeah.
Imagine the velocity with which we have to change the economy.
Yeah, it's staggering how much is still left to be done, even with competition, and obviously the huge installed mass, base and yeah, ammonia is one of those, I guess, 4 pillars of a modern civilization. Obviously has huge value clearly on the food industry, and will continue to have that huge value. So decarbonizing one of those pillars is crucial. So thanks for taking the time to chat to us today, Thomas. It was great to speak to you again, and we look forward to seeing you in Chile. And we wish you luck in getting the project across the line. So many thanks, Thomas.
Thanks to you, and we are very positive that our project will be among those that will be realized.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. You have a strong track record of bringing these projects across the line. So many thanks, Thomas. Take care.
Nadim, thanks to you.
Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.